Hi Mum! You do everything for everyone else. Let me help you make your life easier. Quick, short information to make you empowered and remind you why you are so important. Because if you don't know what's on the menu, how can you choose what's right for you? Hi, I'm Alina, Director of my private practice Supportive Therapy. An everyday Aussie mum trying not to lose my biscuits and my kids. As a mental health professional, I'm here to share my secrets so no other mother feels alone or powerless. Knowledge is power, and I want you to be powerful. Think of it like I'm your mindset coach through all of this. Everything is backed by science and psychology. I believe in you, and I want you to be the best version of yourself. To be happy and to feel in control, you need to be mentally strong. Hello everyone, my name is Alina from Supportive Therapy, so thank you so much for joining me today. We will be talking about emotional eating. Guilty! Definitely for me, I'm one of those people that loves to emotionally eat. Eating your feelings, it just makes me feel so good, so in control. So we will actually it's the illusion of control. So I'm going to help you. We're going to discuss this podcast about emotional eating, maybe how we've learned it from our past. What does it look like moving forward? And how can I then implement strategies to give me that feeling of control? If I want to eat, that's completely fine. But if I don't want to eat and I do it anyways, this is the thing that we need to try and help resolve within ourselves. So obviously emotional eating can be so common and so frustrating at the same time. So just when we started our brand new diet to get on that health train, the fridge is calling us. It's my bestie, right? So when we emotionally eat, it typically can be the result of uncomfortable feelings. So these feelings can be stress, frustration, disagreement, or even with someone close to us. And sometimes, mums, it can be a form of procrastination. So at the moment, we are sometimes in a unique time of uncertainty. So especially when the rules are constantly changing, sometimes when we don't feel safe, or if there's job insecurity, feeling that it's not safe to do things the way that I would normally do it. This turmoil can sometimes be resulting in additional stress, and all this stress, because you're so heightened, increases your fatigue and anxiety. So we all experience stress differently, and we also can find different coping strategies. For some people though, like myself, food can be out of comfort. So pass that wheel of cheese. It's always my choice. I love a big piece of cheese. So essentially, emotional eating is when a person turns to food to cope with their emotions instead of eating for physical hunger. So emotional eating is a coping mechanism that's used to deal with stress, can be anxiety, boredom, sadness, loneliness, and even dealing with other difficult emotions. So emotional eaters tend to eat in response to their emotions rather than their physical hunger cues, and often feel a loss of control over their eating habits. So emotional eating can be known as stress eating, comfort eating, binge eating, and then all of this can reinforce into a negative cycle. So when this cycle, you are triggered and then something makes you uncomfortable. So when you are triggered, it makes you feel uncomfortable, and then you deal with this negative affect state to help us try and control our emotions. We then reach for that food to make us feel safe. So our body typically craves foods that are high in fats and salts, or high in sugar and are processed. Yum, right? Of course. But when this gives us an immediate satisfaction and when we feel satisfied, it can lead to a negative relationship with food. So then the implications within our body image, and then it can be negative implications such as our own self-worth. It can be negative implications such as I can't even be strong enough against myself and I always give in, and then those feelings of helplessness. So further than that, it can sometimes be self-loathing, that we feel unable to control our own impulses. And then the frustrations because we do not know how to change or comfort ourselves in any way. And it's interesting with serotonin wants carbs. And when we want that beautiful serotonin hit of comfort, of feeling safe, it's usually associated with carbs. So some common signs of emotional eating include eating when you're not physically hungry, eating until you're uncomfortably full. So this can be when your brain says, when your tummy says no, but your brain says yes. I've had that a lot, okay? Feeling guilty or ashamed after eating, using food as a reward or punishment. So I've had a really good day today, or I've gone for that run and exercise. I deserve all of this food as a reward. And craving specific foods when experiencing certain emotions. So while emotional eating can provide temporary relief from difficult emotions, it can lead to negative physical and emotional consequences in the long term. So obviously, if this is a daily occurrence or happens maybe a couple of times a day, this overeating, this mindless carb-filled cheese wheel kind of haze, it can also then obviously contribute to weight gain, poor nutrition, and then give you a negative body image, these feelings of helplessness, guilt, shame, lower self-esteem. And once you get down this little rabbit hole, it's so much harder to get out. It's really, really difficult, because what's the point, right? Nothing's going to make me feel better anyways. Feel all alone, so then you just go back to that cheese. So first, let's investigate some reasons. So if you can think about it, this could have been reinforced during childhood when your parents used food as a reward for good behavior. So lollies, chocolates. So when I feel like I deserve a reward, I'm accidentally now repeating that cycle. So also me growing up in the 80s, everything was about scarcity. You have to eat all your dinner, don't waste anything. So you can't leave the table unless you've eaten. So even now as an adult, having trouble, whatever food is in front of me, I feel that compulsion to eat the whole thing. And that's that reinforced in childhood. Even if you don't eat all your dinner, you won't get dessert. So eating all of this, even if I'm uncomfortable, even if I don't like it, but I want that reward of a dessert because I need it, I want it. And then in life later on, when I feel like I deserve a reward, it's dessert. So this leads to, or can lead to, a compulsion to eat all the food on your plate even when you're not full, and then reward yourself with something sweet. Dessert as a reward because I've been good, right? When someone is worried or upset, sometimes food can be a distraction so you're not left alone with those uncomfortable feelings, especially if you've never been taught how to deal with those uncomfortable feelings, how to process those uncomfortable feelings and making yourself feel comfortable on your own instead of food doing that for you. This can fall hand in hand with denial, which, as I've mentioned in the past, is a coping mechanism to keep us emotionally safe. So if we distract ourselves with food, then I don't have to think about what's really going on, okay? This is a protective mechanism. It could also be a replacement addiction habit, such as smoking. So if you're a smoker, when we have a smoke breaks, when we remove ourselves from the situation and engage in a hand-mouth movement. So this is reinforced as comfort and safety. But when we stop smoking, how else do we feel comfort and safety? Hand-to-mouth actions, such as food, right? Additionally, quickly about smoking, realizing that our smoke breaks, when we went out, we give ourselves the illusion that the cigarettes were calming us and making us feel better about whatever happened. But in reality, you were actually removing yourself from a negative situation or from stress. And then in that moment, you were able to breathe and regulate yourself. You were just adding cigarettes as addition to that. So realizing that the cigarettes weren't actually the thing that were giving me that comfort. It was taking time out away on my own and breathing, getting a better perspective, and then going back. Okay. Additionally, when we are anxious, so if we are stressed or overwhelmed, it can feel like my head is spinning and I don't know where to start. So the pantry looks like a great idea. This is also a bit of self-sabotaging behavior. Can be also procrastinating, that dirty little P word. So self-sabotaging behavior can sometimes feel like an illusion of self-control. The illusion of control. Because then if I'm sabotaging, I know what the outcome's going to be, which reduces discomfort. So, as I said in the beginning, if this is not considered problematic for you, then obviously no judgment. You do you, honey. The problem can arise when this behavior is ingrained. And in that moment, just before I reach for the food, I feel like I'm powerless to change, even if I want to. Like it's just a mindless, automatic thing that happens that I have no control over. So before we get into a problem-solving mode and offering solutions, I want to quickly investigate if a caregiver has emotional eating as a coping mechanism. Can your kids repeat this cycle? So this is looking from that holistic perspective, right? So if your caregiver has had emotional eating as their coping mechanism, can kids start to repeat this cycle? And all of this podcast obviously is about understanding our behaviors, where we learned them, and then not repeating negative cycles that I don't want to anymore. So short answer, yes. Emotional eating can be learned from your caregivers, your parents, and whoever was looking after you at the time when you're growing up. Children often model eating behaviors and attitudes of their parents or caregivers, and this includes dealing with emotions. So if a caregiver uses food as a way to comfort the child or to celebrate special occasions, the child may learn to associate food with emotional comfort or reward. Also, if a caregiver restricts food or makes negative comments about their own body weight, the child may then develop negative attitudes and behaviors towards food and then their own body image. So this is essentially repeating that cycle. So it's also important for caregivers to be aware and to model healthy eating behaviors and attitudes, as well as finding healthy ways to cope with emotions. So this is beautiful, you listening to this all the way through, is understanding all these ways to actually cope with my emotions in a healthy way, especially if I've never been modeled that or if I know how to do that from the beginning. So encouraging children to identify and express their emotions in a healthy way. So this can be talking through your emotions, actually emotional intelligence, and identify what I'm feeling, why I'm feeling, where do I feel it within my body, and how can I make myself feel better. Engaging in physical activity. It can also help them with more positive coping mechanisms. If a child is already exhibiting signs of emotional eating, it's important to approach the topic with sensitivity and understanding, encouraging the child to identify and express their emotions while also providing healthy food options and modeling healthy eating behaviors. This can also help them develop a healthier relationship with food and with their emotions. Okay? So, Mama, let's move into solutions. So, learning to self-soothe and to self-regulate. Obviously, this can be impossible if we don't know what it is or if it has never been modeled to us. So, talk to a therapist. Come in, learn it, do research. Self-sabotaging behaviors such as procrastinating, understanding why we are sabotaging and how we can talk to ourselves through it with confidence and self-belief. Mindful eating is huge. If you don't know what this is, you can even have a look on YouTube. So this goes hand in hand with emotional intelligence, as I mentioned earlier. So if we were doing a quick emotional intelligence, either for yourself or for your child, steps are understanding 1, what has triggered us? 2, why has it caused us to retreat into the fridge? 3, evaluate if we are actually hungry or if we're escaping emotions. 4, find new solutions on how to calm ourselves. So this process is a way of meeting our own emotional needs. And through all of this, mums, we have to learn how to meet our own emotional needs and not rely on others meeting them for us. Obviously, it's important if you're in a relationship to be able to be mutually beneficial and others meet our needs to feel satisfied within the relationship. But knowing our boundaries and the line that if we're only ever relying on others to make us happy, we don't know how to make our own selves happy, that's a bit of a problem that needs to be resolved. So this is me helping you build yourself back up. Breathing and meditating can help with reducing anxiety when we do feel overwhelmed. So this can also then be a replacement habit. So when you are feeling overwhelmed, we can replace it with an activity you enjoy, such as walking, reading, movie, dancing, talking to friends, and then even playing with pets. So if you realize that I'm about to open the fridge, think, am I hungry? What's actually happening? Is it procrastinating, or do I need comfort? If I need comfort, if you have a pet, get a cuddle. When you have warmth, it gives your body a feeling of comfort as well. So warmth from a cuddle with someone else. If you have a weighted blanket, putting a weighted blanket on you can give you a fabulous, amazing feeling of comfort and warmth. And in your brain, it actually reduces anxiety. Warmth, it can also be having a warm bath. That's a beautiful way of getting self-comfort, or even in the shower. Another way of getting warmth and comfort is even sitting in the sun just for 10-15 minutes, just to let the sun penetrate your skin and feeling this warmth and comfort. So finding authentic ways to make you feel comforted, and not just through carbs. Thank you, serotonin. And then also understanding dopamine with sugar and the addiction pathway for that. So another really fabulous option, especially for mums with a family, if we are the CEO and the director of the home, we're getting organised with meal prep. If you feel that you are an emotional eater who can't escape the grips of the temptation, cut up and pre-prepare your foods. So if you always do this for kids, do it for yourself as well. So cut up and pre-prepare foods that you actually love and enjoy to snack on. So even if they are healthy, such as your carrot sticks, cheese, nuts, boiled eggs, olives, and all your other kind of favorite little snacks. But at least if they're healthy, then it reduces the guilt. There's this amazing saying that eat anything that has had a life. So if it's had a life, it's not processed. So if it's had a life, it's fruit and vegetables, or it's protein. It can be nuts, grains. So that's a really lovely reminder as well. So it can be your new golden rule to have a relationship with food to take the pressure off. So reducing guilt and self-loathing can be to eat all the foods that make you actually feel happy about yourself. So even if you're about to eat something, you can think, how's this food going to make me feel in half an hour? And obviously if you're eating a huge bowl of ice cream, imagine if you're lactose intolerant, what's going to happen in half an hour? No, is it worth it? Do I really want it? How far deep down the comfort hole am I that I'm willing to sacrifice and self-sabotage? Is it worth it, or am I just going to do it? Give yourself the best chance at success, okay? Get organized and take back control. Embrace your setbacks with judgment and move forward with your best interests in mind. So this is your life. If you going to do it sometimes with comfort food, that's fine. If food isn't an issue with you, that's amazing, right? But especially with mums and we're stressed, if we're at home all day, if we're a stay-at-home mum, we don't have a lot of support. Sometimes the only support we have is for the fridge. So how are other ways in our life that we can find pleasure and joy? So if I feel like I'm so bogged down, I don't have any pleasure or joy or happiness, what are little things that you can do throughout the day to give yourself back a little bit of joy or happiness or smile? Comedians, laughter, dancing, music, sun, anything, just to give yourself back some kind of happiness feeling. So thank you so much for joining me today. Just a little quickie on emotional eating, and I hope there's a lot of really good strategies for you as well here. So if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out and let me know. I'll always be here. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed it and looking forward to speaking with you soon. Thank you so much for your time. Bye. If you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire podcast, and for that, I would like to thank you for your support. So you can find me on Instagram or Facebook at supportivetherapy_, and then you can find heaps of free resources online at www.supportivetherapy.com.au. So if today you did find my information useful, please leave a review and subscribe. By leaving a review, it's a value exchange. It's good karma. So I value your support just as much as you value my free information. And if you liked it, other mums can like it as well, hopefully, and then it can hopefully start a huge movement of people valuing mothers the way that they need to be valued. So please feel free to let me know what topics you would like to see in future episodes. Always feel free to get in touch with me in the comments. Otherwise, follow me on Supportive Therapy social media networks. Thank you so much for your time, and have a wonderful day, you beautiful mum.